Here's another poisonous plant, the Meadow death camas. This is the Meadow death camas. It's native to North America and can be found in Canada, all the way from Saskatchewan over to British Columbia, as well as the United States from areas in the middle like New Mexico, again all over to the west coast. And it is quite toxic. Now, most of the poisonings come from the confusion of them with wild onion because they do look somewhat similar, and beginner foragers might get the two mixed up. Now, the main toxic compound in this plant is an alkaloid called zygosine, and it is decently toxic. The oral lethal dose for what was estimated to be a 60-kilogram human is between 6 and 9 milligrams. Now, after ingestion, the symptoms are mainly gastrointestinal, including nausea and vomiting, as well as cramps, and then can move on to more muscular symptoms, including kind of loss of muscle movement. Now, fatalities, at least in humans, is rare because it can be quite easily treated with atropine. However, most of the causes of death are from respiratory failure. Now, this plant is quite toxic to both humans as well as other animals, and there have been cases of accidental livestock poisoning in sheep, goats, and cows, and there's also been cases of bees getting fatally sick from this as well, which is not great when you rely on bees to pollinate. However, this is the death camas minor bee, a type of native bee that is specialized to specifically pollinate the meadow death camas. Since other bees often get quite sick from the meadow death camas, they tend to leave it alone, which has opened up this entire niche for this specific bee to take full advantage of that. Minor bees are what are called solitary bees, so they don't form hive units. So basically what they do is they use the death camas for both nectar for feeding the adult bees, as well as taking it back to their nest or burrow or whatever to feed their baby bees. And the baby bee larvae are specialized that they do very well on this diet of toxic pollen, which is poisonous to the larvae of other bee species. And this works very well for both the plant and the bee, because the plant still gets pollinated while being able to be hella toxic, and the bee has very, very little competition with other bees because they're not able to actually use the pollen or the nectar from that plant.